I drove this car most of the time when we won the World Manufacturers Championship. I drove it 4 races out of 6, and every time we drove it, we won.
Shelby's goal was to go to Europe and beat Ferrari, because that, at the time, was the pinnacle of racing.
And it was so nice to be able to come up behind a Ferrari GTO and just go by it and wave goodbye and pull away.
At the first race at Daytona, the car was so fast that we actually decided to drop the RPM range that we were going to run it. We were going to drop it 1,000 RPM, and it was still much, much faster than the fastest Ferraris at that time.
We're promoting it as an American crown jewel, and our job is to promote it and get the most money. The car will definitely break a world's record for an American car. We would love to see it set a world's record for any car, but hands down it'll shatter the record for an American car.
This car had 8 races internationally. Bob drove 6 of them, and this car won 3 international races and actually won at Reims, France in July 4th, actually, which was a great day for America.
That was so fantastic.
And it was done with a production Ford engine. That was the beauty of it. It was just a bunch of hot rodders in California made the fastest racing cars in the world.
Today when I drove the car, first time in 20 years, it feels so good. After I went through turn 1, turn 2, the car just felt like I've never gotten out of the car. It handles well, it has good acceleration, good brakes, and corners, I mean, I love it.
The roof line on this car is actually very, very strange looking, especially strange looking in those days, because if you look at the high point of the roof, it's directly over the driver's head, which aerodynamically works out very good, because as you round this shape over the front, the air doesn't separate off the windshield.
It means a lot to us to be associated with the overall halo and ambience that this car is going to bring. It's one of the few American cars that has an international flair to it.
If you look at the back end of this car, it's absolutely chopped off, and it was quite different. And the reason for that is to make the car efficient aerodynamically. Is what you want to do is you want to keep the air attached to the surface all the time, so the air stays on it. Because if you begin to bring the roof line back down too far, more than about 7 or 8 degrees, the air begins to separate off the back and creates turbulence. And that turbulence all across the back end, if you come down here, creates drag and makes the car inefficient. So it was very interesting. In the late 30s, there was a young man named Reinhard König Fashionfeld who had figured out, trying to make buses more efficient on the German Autobahns, he figured out how to put a taper in them, make them a little bit longer, and the buses became more efficient from fuel, could carry a greater payload. So really, the whole aerodynamic idea of this came from 1939 from a bus design.
And every time that I ran a race in Europe and we won, I was representing the good old USA and all of us over here. And I felt that time, every time I got up on the podium to receive a first place credit for it, that's what I felt.
And we went over there with just a tiny little crew of 8 guys in a toolbox and blew off the fastest, best Ferraris in the world.
And when we won the World Manufacturers Championship that day at Reims on 4th of July in this car, I just thought, wow, I mean, this is really great.
And it brings me great pride that an American artifact like this, that I get to offer it for sale. And our job is to get the most money we can for it. It's an international item, so I know that some international money is going to come to buy the car. And a bigger task that I have than getting the big money paid for this car is for me to challenge the American buyers to come forward and keep this car on our shores.